All right. Shalom, shalom. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. The one said, positive elders, great millstone. Matter of fact, I'm gonna switch seats. My face isn't dark, anything like that. I got the light in the background, so lock it. Should be good. But hey, just real quick, man. More news. Right now, as far as the major events, we know Trump just met with Putin. Putin passed him a soccer ball or whatever. It's kind of a little nod to him, trying to say, well, look, the ball's in your court. But that doesn't mean that they're gonna get along, because we know that the Lord is gonna put hooks in the mind of Putin and the rest of these leaders against America. Excuse me. So just looking at it now through prophecy. In fact, if you jump to the top, 2nd Ezra 16, which the whole chapter is excellent, talking about destruction. Woe be unto thee, woe is destruction, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair, bewail your children and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. The sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? Now I'm gonna skip down here. Like I said, the whole chapter is good. You should read the whole chapter. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. And one of the plagues that's going to be upon the earth is famine. Of course, that's one of the top plagues, man. Because right now you got Iran. They got pissed off at the U.S. So they're like, look, they told Saudi Arabia, look, we're gonna cut you off from even getting oil out of the Gulf, out of the Gulf, and bringing it into the Arabian Sea, excuse me, because Saudi Arabia, they have to ship it through the Red Sea and take it through that area, and Iran is heavy over there. And yeah, real quick, make sure I get all the names and the information right. That's a part of doing your lesson. Hey, Saudi Arabia, they'll have to go out. They can go this way, but it's harder to get through here, or they can just go through the Persian Gulf, go through the Gulf of Oman into the Arabian Sea. And then Iran is saying, well, look, we'll go ahead and block your shit. And so now Iran is kind of scrambling right now. Like I said, Tehran tries to get international support as a first wave of sanctions after U.S. withdrawal from the nuclear deal. Yeah, because we know Trump didn't like the deal with Iran, the nuclear deal with Iran, and now he's trying to back out of it, and Iran is pissed. In exactly 3 weeks, the first wave of U.S. sanctions against Iran, so they're going to retaliate, will come into effect after President Trump pulled the U.S. out of the Iran nuclear deal. The new sanctions are likely to have a severe effect on the Iranian economy. They're trying to secure support with mixed results. Yeah, because a lot of these countries, they're kind of fearful. They can see the pieces on the board being arranged. Russia to discuss investing in Iran's oil industry. That's another act of war, supporting America's direct enemy, Israel's direct enemy. Then they're looking for India and Pakistan to reaffirm cooperation. Right. So they also hope China, which China probably will buy oil from them. But basically, Iran is in a situation, and like it's gonna go on to say, the fire is kindled and shall not be put out. Yeah, the fire. Hey, it's a fire in these nations right now. The leaders of these nations who are pissed off at America, and there's a fire in the leaders of America who are pissed off because they're seeing America go down the drain, circling the drain. and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. Yeah. Excuse me. Just like the arrow which is shot out, it's no turning back. You can't pull, with these current bodies, you can't grab the arrow and reverse it and return it back. There's no going back. Once the shit starts, it's not, like it says, it shall not return again. Woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? Yeah, because Edris was given this vision of the destruction of America, and he could see all the different things that were going on. He could see the missiles, the nukes. He could see the pestilence, all the things that are going on now. They were given to a lot of the prophets in the scriptures. All these things that, Isaiah's talked about it, Jeremiah's talked about it, Ezekiel, Daniel's talked about it, Moses saw it, all these different prophets who saw the end of the earth. Amos saw it, John saw it. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. That's why a lot of them, when they saw these visions, they became sick. They became sickly. The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for men. And like I say, famine and plague. Famine, that's your food being cut off, your water being cut off, your victuals being cut off. Tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment being changed. But for all these things they shall not turn for their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Yeah, because victuals is talking about food and other necessities. Yeah, right now you can go to the dollar store. You can catch some paper towels on sale. You can catch your food on sale. You can catch water. You can get a big ass thing of water. $5, $1 for the cheaper water. Yeah, you could run to McDonald's, get you a dollar burger, or run into one of these burger places, get you a 50-cent burger or some crazy shit. You could go online to Retail Me Not, get you a coupon and end up paying $5 or $6 for something that's supposed to cost $15. Yeah, victuals are good and cheap right now, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. Yeah, everybody thinks we're in good case, because every day they got a nice hot meal, whether you made it or you go to the store. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. And then along with the victuals, Salaki, man, Satan. Now, I wasn't doing none of this shit when I first pulled it up. The screen just went straight black. But anyway, Texas to pass Iraq and Iran as world number 3 oil powerhouse, which, I don't know how they're getting that. We don't have any way to verify that, but they're saying that Texas is a global oil superpower. We know it's a lot of oil in Texas. That is true. So, these people are thinking just because they which this is a part of Esau's blessing, fatness of the earth. And then Ishmael, I believe his blessing was also fatness of the earth. So it makes sense. They might have a little bit of oil down there, but like I said, yeah, they think themselves to be in a good case. Just because you have all that oil, that doesn't mean shit. That doesn't mean this place isn't going to be destroyed. Let's say, in fact, Texas is pumping so much oil it will surpass OPEC members Iran and Iraq next year. That's a prediction. If it was a country, it would be the world's number 3 oil producer behind Russia and Saudi Arabia. And like I said, man, that hyper growth is needed because major players like Saudi Arabia are quickly maxing out on their production. Which again, Esau is the master of he's the master of lies and deception and bullshit. This could be part of his warfare, but once again, this could be very true. And Esau's blessing kind of confirms that. And then these Edomites, we can see just like they ran upon those Gadites up there and went up to their reservation and fucked with them over oil. These Edomites, they'll go frack, which fracking is I believe they do high pressure water deep down so they can get to the oil below or something like that. But then that pushes certain chemicals from underground to the top. I believe that's exactly what it is. And it's not or it contaminates the groundwater, some to that extent. You can Google it. But let's see what the United States is saying in retaliation. The U.S. expects China to buy even more Iranian oil after sanctions, of course, because China, once again, just like we're seeing, a lot of Chinese or a lot of Asian people are starting to come up to the camp, whether it be Ammon or Moab, and they have that proud spirit. They're not fearful like they used to be, because they know they could just run back to their country and maybe make a little money, or they have the option of coming over here and receiving a grant for a business. They could do that. Meanwhile, the people who built this place, the Blacks, Native American, and Latino people, we don't get none of that shit. So the U.S. is doing the same prediction that, look, China's going to buy the oil. Basically, Iran, they tried to starve Iran out. It's not going to work. Which you can see that, man. Everybody's getting pissed off with America. Because Iran's not going for the bullshit. And then this is the next one. U.S. and Western officials are considering an eventual, which this is why I say the Texas thing was some bullshit. U.S. and Western, look at this folly, man. Look at this shit. Complete fucking folly. U.S. and Western officials are considering an eventual emergency release of stockpiled oil if new supplies can't prevent another sharp rise in prices, according to people familiar with the matter. The Trump administration is actively assessing whether to dip into the country's emergency oil stocks while it simultaneously pushes other countries to boost their output, according to people familiar with the matter. The discussions are part of a broader effort to ensure oil markets remain well supplied amidst a host of production disruptions, which that's an offshoot way of sneak dissing Iran. They say amid production disruptions. Yeah, Iran doesn't want to sell you the oil that you want, and rising global demand. That's right. So of course, they're talking about Trump has a emergency oil stock or whatever. Now they're trying to compare with all these other countries. You don't know how much oil they got, but as you can see, it's depleting, and it's been depleting. It's going down, which once again, we don't know the exact numbers. If you own a business and you can see that your business is going out of business, excuse me. Your prices are too high, you're not making enough money. Are you going to tell your customers that, look, you're going to give them your exact numbers and shit? No. Any smart business, they're going to play the long game. They might do extra expenses, put up extra ads, invest just like these people invest in these different newspapers, which they all control, which we try to scour through from information. You know, some being true, some not. So, you know, even if they might have fucking 10 barrels sitting around, but if they put it out like this, then people will still go to work. People will still be invested in America. They'll still believe in that wine of America, the doctrines of America. But once people understand how little that they really have, that's when the chaos will ensue. Because then it's like, well, fuck it. You know, if this place is going out, I'm going out with a bang. That's how Esau thinks. So if Texas is putting out that much oil, why would you need to dip into emergency oil reserve? Which right now, you know, oil of course has a influence on the gasoline prices. That's another part of the famine of America. Gasoline right now is up. You know, in this area it's at 280 early in the year. It's at a certain point it was 199, I believe, last year, and then it went up 212, and now it's up there damn near $3. I wouldn't be surprised if it was $3 on Friday. What does it say? For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other, yeah, they had all these victuals, but many of them who dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. So, hey, the sword, we know what that's talking about, the gun, weaponry. So it's war coming. People ain't gonna be fighting a war over nothing. People ain't gonna be fighting a war, you know, when everything's good. Esau's government can still supply you with your daily food, your rations. You know, they have extras. You know, because these Edomite businesses going back to the 60s and stuff, they've always had extras. They've always had enough to play around with, the bullshit with. Now shit for them is tight. You know, you're seeing these Edomites jumping job to job. It ain't like the old days where, you know, you stuck with the same job for 20 years and all this shit. Now it's just it's a free market. Show you that in the NBA, right? They just traded, you know, which the NBA, fuck the NBA, but just an example of how Esau's market worked. You know, they'll make a trade for a player. If the player opts out of the contract and he goes over, you know, he's disloyal. But then they might tell you you're not being traded, but then trade you anyway. And then when you say, well, why did you trade me? They'll say, well, look, it's just a business. You know, it's nothing personal. It's a business. We got to make money. We got to stay marketable. It's a business for Esau. He doesn't give a fuck. As long as he stays on top, everything is good. But he's not going to stay on top. That's why the sword is going to destroy many of them. The guns are going to come out. And the dead shall be cast out as dung. Yeah, dung. Just shit, just sitting there. They're going to be bodies piled up. And there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be casted down. Yep. There shall be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. So this place is going to be a fucking wasteland. Yeah, because right now, I know through Missouri, we was just driving out there. You got all these fields, these different places where they till the farms, cornfields, soybean fields. You got different orchards and stuff like that. And they work the earth, and they can rework it, you know, put nutrients back into it or whatever. And that day, like it says, ain't gonna be nobody to till the field. It's gonna be a fucking wasteland. That's what that look, a dry, nasty wasteland. Because in order for you to till the field too, you need constant water coming out. And then, you know, in combination with all that stuff, you got a massive trucker driver shortage. And I'm not gonna go into an article. You know, you can look it up yourself. But it's a large. It's a combination of two things: the federal government cracking down on the different rules and regulations for truck driving, and then truck drivers have not received a pay increase in the last 20 years. That's why, yeah, I believe they're going to highlight it in this particular article. They haven't received a pay increase in 20 years. You know, 20 years ago, they could go out for 2 weeks, come home with, you know, 14 grand or something like that. That's what I keep hearing stories of. They could come home with 10 grand and everything would be good. You could support your family, you could buy a house, you could do all that stuff. But now, these guys are barely scraping by. These old school drivers who used to drive them 18 hours a day, and all they had were paper logs. Well, now you got electronic logs in the truck, so everything that they do is being logged electronically, and you can't stop that. It's computed in the truck and all that. So these different things in combination, man. Once because this is a huge thing. So once, and the cost of the industry is going up, the technology is getting better. You have to pay more for the different technologies they have. So these different things in combination are going right now. Yeah, it's a constant demand for truckers. It's a huge demand if you go to Indeed.com. Shipping costs. You need people to. That's how shit gets from point A to point B. Truck drivers, you need people to take shit from point A to point B. Once you can't do that, people start starving. You could try to raise the rates up for pay, but people don't want to do a job. They don't want to do a job, so it's going to become a problem. And that's another what's the word I'm looking for? That's another variable in this particular experiment. That's another variable. All of these are different variables in the algorithm that the Most High has already set up. To put it in plain words, the Most High has a play set up. These are the different acts and the different things that have to occur to get to the end, which the end is going to be the kingdom of heaven for the Israelites. But before that, these things have to happen, and that's what Esdras saw, and that's what he wrote. As the scriptures talk about what? Write things plain. Make it plain and write it out. And that's what these men did throughout the Bible and the Apocrypha. But with that being said, man, I hope this was edifying. Just more information. I have more coming shortly, Lord willing. Shalom to you, sincere brothers. Stay up.